Hey everybody, thanks for joining me at Collective Aquariums today. My name is Andrew. So guys, today we're going to cover a little bit of the dangers of aquascaping. In my 150 gallon discus tank, I had assembled a tree for some cover for the fish and missed a couple of real small branches at the bottom, and it left just enough of a stick to injure my discus. So we're going to take it out and take the nubs off. Might move a plant, show you guys how to do that without damaging the roots. Cover a little bit of nutrition for the plants. Rock platform I installed on it to keep it sunk. But these little itty bitty, what I thought were soft or flat enough, small enough. One of these is injuring my $100 fish. So, let's fix the problem. So, this may still leave too much of a... Yep. As a Boy Scout most of my life, do not cut towards your thumb. This is how you should shave. I have a lot of experience. Maybe one day you guys will get to watch me gash myself open. This is not how you're supposed to do it. This is how you're supposed to do it. Now, after doing some research, I'd come to find that many of the very expensive pieces of wood we buy are just basic plants. It's more about processing the wood than it is what type. This is a root from a maple tree. I live in the Midwest, and we have them in abundance. I had cut a couple down and had some of the stump left. After watching some aquascaping videos, I got the idea after watching some guy cut apart some spider root. So I guess a little bit of background on me, guys. My name's Andrew, and I'm 26. I've been an aquarium hobbyist since I was 4 years old, and my father got me into it. I have not gone a day in my life without a fish tank since my first one. And I remember very clearly my father had gotten a larger aquarium, so he gave me his 10 and brought me to the pet store and let me pick out some guppies. Shout out to local pet stores. They're your best friend. I preference them over chain stores for a multitude of reasons, mainly that when those guppies started to breed, I was able to bring them back and upgrade. And by the time I was 10, I no longer had guppies. I was doing swordtails and mollies, and I was trying to breed pretty much anything I could just for the experience and the fun, going through all sorts of things. And then I found out about African cichlids. It started with the jewel cichlid, and then it turned into Malawian haps and peacocks, and I bred those. And as I bred them, I went from a 10-gallon tank to a 30-gallon tank to multiple 30-gallon tanks to 40 breeders to 55s. And when my 55s broke, I upgraded to a 75. When my second 55 broke, I replaced that one with a 150-gallon tank. That's what you guys are looking at now. I don't have a whole lot of money. I did a lot of this off of cropping my plants, bringing them in, breeding fish, building store credit. So I'm going to leave very little ones on the end. This one, I will leave this, because the idea is the moss will grow and grab. when I put the tree together, it was pretty late at night. I was a little excited about the idea. Missed a couple of small details that matter quite a bit. Sometimes the smallest details are the most important. The little white pieces are an aquatic super glue, and over time anywhere here where the plants are more lush and grown in, you see no white. It turns brown or green depending on how much light it gets. It always will grow algae, and then the algae will die if it doesn't get enough light. So it always blends in fairly nicely. This would have been extraordinarily easy had I done this before assembling the tree. Some of the branches I was much better about it than others. I thought maybe it's small enough, it doesn't matter, and it matters. Discus are very, very sensitive. Granted, my discus scratched himself, and I noticed this morning it is 1:30 in the afternoon, and my discus no longer really visible with the scratch. Recovered fairly quickly. I like to think that has to do with the care I give them. They're happy, they're healthy, they have good water. So it looks like a piece of the moss had fallen off. Prop back in place. Now some of it is pinched in place, and some of the moss I tied in place using black sewing thread. It decays over time, so you don't have to necessarily go back and take it out unless it decays and then you see a floating string. You don't want to let fish eat that. And they seem to be attracted to the little black worms. So I'm going to dip it in the water to keep it wet. I want to move a plant. Alright, so when you have larger plants, root bases, you don't want to damage your roots. This is a concept I also apply outside to the water garden. You start much further away than needed and loosen it. Keep it kind of stable, and it will just come. And I didn't break any of those teeny weeny little roots. They're all still there. Look, it even held on to some gravel. We want to put it, I'm thinking, somewhere around here. So, now that we know where we're going to put it. Now this can be disturbing to tanks. You can be as gentle as possible. It's going to make a mess. I have a mound here that it was buried in, and this fine debris is always going to get kicked up when you move soil. Gravel, substrate, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're using, really. So the air bubbles are going to disturb the sand and kick it up. So the plant's not going to stay there very well directly above it. We're going to have to thicken up kind of right here. So my air stone's within an inch of the back of the tank. The dimensions of this tank are 18 inches front to back, 6 feet side to side, and it's 27 inches tall. The roots kind of have their own direction, and I assume it has something to do with how it was planted and grown. I want the widest distribution of pressure possible across the roots. Due to where it's at in the tank, I'm pushing one direction to bury it. Wiggle your fingers a little. Some of the sand will fall onto the roots, hold it in place, allowing you to adjust as you see fit. Now this is a Cranum calamistratum that I moved. It's a bulb plant. It's fairly rare. My local fish store guy said he's gotten, this was his second batch of it in like a decade, 10 years. So fairly uncommon. I picked up a couple of them. This one has even got a couple of babies going on already. And I've only had it for about a month. Still recovering from some algae. Now, as far as the nutrition goes, before I put the tree in my way, these are called root tabs. I am a Flourish product buyer, and my local fish store carries mostly Flourish products, and I've had really good results with them, so I've always stuck with them, never found a reason to change. I don't really have to pay for any of this because I grow and then sell plants and fish back to the pet store. Now, this is a fairly large plant, and it's nursing babies, so we're going to give it 2 tabs. Now, I gave it one right on top of its roots, pushed down as far as it would let me, and we'll coax it from behind to grow roots that direction. So I very recently added CO2 to try to spike the growth of my plants and the health. I just upped it to a bubble every 1.5 to 2 seconds. Might call it 1 3/4 seconds. Issues I have in ginormous fish tanks. My joke used to be rich guy problems when I had to get on my step stool to get in here. You know, that's just because I always thought you had to be rich to have this kind of stuff. Through discussion and self-realization, it's part of the making of my channel. You don't need to be a rich guy, and it's a huge misconception that should be corrected. There should be more people that can go from guppies to discus in the years of the evolution of their fish tank. I mean, you know, just as an example, it doesn't have to be guppies to discus. Some people might want to go guppies to saltwater. Saltwater is actually something I'm thinking about dipping my toe in, but I just started this, so with the CO2 growth and the aquascaping. In my waiting for growth, I'm a little bored, and that's where the saltwater diddle-daddle might come in. I run an FX6 on my 150, and I do not run it exactly as the instructions would. I kind of run it more filtered like a sump, except for it's a canister. And filtration, it's kind of more about you, if you're going to maintain it. Are you going to pull a cartridge out the back of your tank, go rinse it off, and slip it in? You might have to do that every other day, but if you're going to do that every other day over picking up a canister, taking it apart, cleaning it all, putting it back together, filling it with water, carrying it back over to your tank, and hooking it back up again, then go with an over the back. You can customize your cartridges just like I did the inside parts of the canister. It's basic. Basic mechanical filtration, and then you need biological filtration, which is why they're called bio balls, in case people don't know that. The little plastic balls or BBs that you see for filters, they aren't just for sumps. You can put them in your canister, or you can rig the back of a hang-on back filter to hold bio balls in front of or behind your cartridge filter for it. It's about what you're going to do. That's what's going to make your fish healthy. Thanks for joining Collective Aquariums today, everybody. I hope you liked the video and or found it helpful. Hit that like and subscribe button, and have a nice day.